Mike, can you believe we're talking baseball, Phillies baseball in October? It's not about free agency; it's about the World Series.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. This is a great the one sports team that I still am a fan of is playing in the World Series, and the one sports team I cover full time is undefeated and heading into their biggest game of the year. So it's a good time to be me right now in terms of sports.
It's a good time to be Mike Gross.
There you go.
Funny thing, I thought of you yesterday because Phillies should be playing the World Series at home on Saturday night. So if Penn State wasn't playing their biggest game of the year, you would be down in Philadelphia covering the Phillies as well. As you usually cover the Phillies for the Sunday news.
I'm not complaining, but it's almost like an embarrassment of riches right now. There's too much. Yeah,
yes,
too
very much. Eric Stark with you, Mike Gross with you. We do this show called The Low Post, and I got to show you one of my now dated shirts. My wife Cindy got me this for Christmas. And on the back, it has all the Phillies pennants that they've won. You know, National League champions, World Series champions. The shirt's now dated. We got to add another National League championship over here, which is sort of neat. I'll take it.
Can I give you a really interesting little fact thing that this kind of illustrates? The Phillies have lost in the World Series 4 times.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Yep.
The first time was against the Boston Red Sox, the oldest team in the American League East. The second time was against the New York Yankees, the second oldest team in the American League East.
Okay.
The third time was against the Baltimore Orioles, the third oldest team in the American League East. The fourth time was against the Toronto Blue Jays, the fourth oldest team in the American League East. And who are they playing now in the World Series?
Well, the Tampa Rays.
The fifth oldest team
in
the American League East. Draw your own conclusions. Mr. and Mrs. America.
Interesting. Also, they're calling this the 2008 the worst series because the Phillies have been baseball's worst team, first team to get to 1,000 losses.
First in any sport in America.
Yeah. And the Rays for 10 years were horrible, and they were in last place last year. Now, what they did. What do you see as some of the keys to this game, to the series, I should say?
Well, I think that Tampa is a team that they kind of remind me of the Los Angeles Angels, except with more power. They're more home run oriented team, but I just see a real solid lineup from 1 to 25. A real good pitching staff. I don't think they have a Cy Young Award winner in that pitching staff. I don't think they have any guy who's going to lead the league in ERA or strikeouts or anything, but real solid from 1 through 12. I like the fact that their key figures on their pitching staff are left-handed. I mean, I like it from their point of view. I'm talking about Price, the reliever, who was so impressive the other night against the Red Sox, and also Kazmir, who's going to be the Game 1 starter. Right. Left-handed, which obviously you want left-handers against the Phillies. On the other hand, they're a bunch of fastball. They're very fastball-oriented pitching staff, and the Phillies are a very fastball-oriented hitting team. So that kind of is in the Phillies' favor.
A couple of things. You mentioned fastballs. Their offense for the Rays, they're a dead red fastball hitting team, too. So the key in this series, I believe, will be the Phillies pitching staff getting ahead in counts. If they get behind and have to throw fastballs, look out because they're looking for it.
The Phillies get ahead, then you're going to see the Cole Hamels changeup. You're going to see the Brett Myers breaking ball. You're going to see Jamie Moyer nibble, which he has to get ahead. He has to get ahead to be effective when he's playing against this caliber of opponent. So that's a good call. I think that really is a key.
Moyer's going to be interesting. He's had 2 bad postseason outings. I'm curious to see how he pitches. I hope they move him back to Game 4, not Game 3, just in case this goes 7. And they then can go Joe Bland, who's pitched very well for these guys.
Well, but I'm not as concerned about Moyer as a lot of people are. I like him. I think I can't see him pitching poorly 3 times in a row.
Now, I had mentioned Keys before, always been pitching in these playoffs. No, starting pitching, I'll say. Now I'm going to say one. I think it's the key is the middle of the lineups for these two teams. Who has the better middle of the lineup? Ryan Howard will be a key. Do you know since 2006, his first 3 full seasons in baseball, he's been walked 89 times intentionally.
Right.
He's got to be patient at the plate coming up here.
If
it's the intentional or if it's the otherwise kind of walk, take what they give you. Don't go chasing balls. If he can create some havoc in the middle of the lineup, the Phillies are in great shape. I also think a key is the bullpens as opposed to the starting pitchers. This David Price you mentioned was a rookie, 12-1 in the minors. They didn't bring him up basically until they missed the postseason, probably because of eligibility.
14 career major league innings, I think it is.
That's all it was. But basically, there's no scouting report on him. He is scary against left-handers. The Rays have 3 lefties in the pen, which they can use against Utley and Howard. But they only have one in that starting rotation. That's Scott Kazmir.
Right.
The rest are 3 solid right-handers. So I'm going to pick the Phillies to win this. The first time I have in the playoffs picked the Phillies, basically, and not been as nervous. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a real close series. I think it's a real competitive series. I think it's a 7-game series probably. But I'm going to pick Tampa. I just look at matchups here, and I just like the matchups a little bit in Tampa's favor. Boy, do I hope I'm wrong.